Radical Imagination Project, filming creative community.
So my background, I was raised by working class parents, which then turned into a single unit through my mother and father divorcing. My mum then became a single parent, raising 3 boys. I suppose life on the sort of kind of single parent family was quite grim, with no steady income, and obviously through the inequality of not having enough money and stuff like that, we started to become delinquents. We started obviously using our talents for acquiring things that obviously my mum couldn't afford. From that delinquency, most of us, well, in fact all of us, me, my brothers, ended up in a children's home. From children's homes we ended up in List G schools, which don't exist anymore, and List D schools, which were probably like Bostels for, well, equivalent of Bostels back then. And from that, having a spell obviously in children's homes and stuff like that.
Age were you were?
I was 11, and went through the sort of social work system from 11 till about 16, and then obviously came out at 16 and then ended up in prison, and then from that point, which was quite fortunate, I met someone and had 2 kids, and progressed through obviously trying to raise 2 kids and stuff like that. It wasn't until that relationship deteriorated that I moved to Glasgow.
Who were you staying before?
I was staying in Kilmarnock in Ayrshire, a place called On Thank, which is quite notorious. It was in a BBC Fly in the Wall documentary. It was basically people coming into the community. People did a documentary on the community of Kilmarnock, and highlighting, you know, obviously how people were living, following various families and individuals in Kilmarnock. Basically, you know, one was a drug user. In fact, there was a few of them that were drug users. There was a family that was dysfunctional, and there was a family that was kind of trying to do the better for the community. What was it called?
How did that go? I know the one you
know what I'm talking about? Aye.
It's kind of generic, fly in the wall.
Aye. So how did that go?
Aye. I mean, what was...
I think it created a lot of stereotypes, and I think it probably kind of unveiled people's delusion of living in schemes, that it was kind of animated. It was more kind of in your face to actually, you know, this is what's going on, you know. It doesn't matter how much you want to cover it up, you know, or walk about, you know, naive that, you know, this is taking place in communities, because a lot of people then started the whole denial thing about saying, oh, Kilmarnock's not like this, and, you know, there's good people in Kilmarnock and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it was quite a shock for people, you know, when it was actually, want for a better word, is probably it being, you know, animated, you know, the reality, you know, people didn't want to, you know, try to deny that this reality was happening, you know.
So how did it affect you? Did that have any leanings in?
I suppose the impact on me was kind of 2 fingers up to obviously, you know, the the sort of kind of local policy and the sort of kind of council and other organisations that were basically just allowing, you know, people to go and support it in communities. I think it was like a, you know, a two thing.
Do you think these films are useful to the community in terms of, I mean, do you think it's just another TV programme, you know, that's like cheap telly and stuff? I mean, sometimes they make a good job of them and it's a fair analysis of what's happening and stuff. But do you think it really helps or hinders the situation?
I think it depends on the mental model of the person. I think that, you know, it does probably, it's like poverty porn, isn't it? You know, these people come in and they try and highlight, you know, the issues and stuff like that, you know. Maybe people look at these films and think, you know, I suppose they're really watching Jeremy Kyle and people like that, you know, my God, you know, at least I'm more like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it sort of kind of allows people to sort of escape, you know, their own sort of reality or what they term as their own issues and concerns, you know. But I think it's a good thing as well because it makes obviously these people that are supposed to be, you know, are supposed to be policing obviously our communities or, you know, policing like our roadworks, you know, and how we should be living and stuff like that, you know. It has quite a big impact on them. And even though, you know, obviously when that documentary came out, it was called The Scheme, that was the name of it, they were obviously in denial that these things, you know, were, you know, seen as being a bit kind of more pronounced than they were.
I think the problem is a lot of people, I mean, even in Glasgow, there's a lot of people from the West End have never been in the East End.
Aye.
Never actually viewed these things. I may have seen them in the main road. But there was a French guy did some photographs in the 80s, East End in Glasgow, and he's just published a book, Magnum Press, and I was speaking to Leonard, who's French, and he was looking at the photographs and he was saying, Bob, I'm finding it a bit difficult for a time scale when these photographs were taken, because so much you can still see.
Aye.
You know, so much of the city still looks like what it did in the 80s. And a lot of people never venture, you know, outside the wee perimeters to see these things. And that's why I'm thinking, you know, these programmes, you know, they could look exaggerated, but in actual fact some of them are understated to the situation some people are living through. You know what I mean?
It's just what you're saying. I mean, when obviously that film came out, people said it wasn't as bad as it is. I mean, that was just basically the individuals that they were filming at the time were a very, very small minority, you know, of, you know, the issues and stuff like that were happening in Kamal. You know, they never, you know, if they were to cover a smallitude of other individuals, you know, it would have been, you know, a bloodbath, you know, and obviously in the hands of, you know, local councils and organisations who are saying that, you know, we are supporting, you know, the community when they're not supporting the community, you know. The tendency for these organisations is they tend to come with these grandiose ideas of putting things in place, you know, for people that, you know, this will work, you know. It's that whole thing where it's like experts coming into the community without even consulting the community and actually finding out, you know, how the community feel about that. You know, what does the community want to do, you know? So these things, these people put these support systems or these activities for apparent people who will benefit from them, you know, or who they think will benefit from them, without even asking them, you know, is this what you want?
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose what we have to concentrate on is what we are doing, rather than, I mean, people are kind of patently aware of the problems, and the councils and people that don't do anything about it. And a lot of people spend a lot of time talking about that, writing analysis about it and this and that. You know, like the war's bad, like, we know the war's bad. What we have to do is figure out how we stop it, or how we change the situation. You moved to Glasgow.
I moved to Glasgow. I met somebody who stayed in Glasgow. We ended up getting married, and then we continue to live in Govan. During my time in Govan, I was looking for some things to kind of like volunteer in, and that's when I discovered the Govan and Creighton Integration Network. They were based in a church hall at the time.
Were you at college then?
No. I think education for me at the time was a bit kind of, more deeper in the woods. So when I started volunteering for them, I started discovering that, there was a whole process of things that, I want a better understanding of. I want a better understanding of, why is it, people, are, coming to Scotland and facing, inequalities that they've, or even to a greater degree or scale, inequalities, from their own country and been just through in the sort of kind of deep end, here, and they're struggling to survive and stuff like that. And I think probably I was a bit naive to the whole idea of, what I was doing and, am I, helping people. So
was this when you were volunteering for the project?
I was volunteering for the project, aye. So I then from GCIN then started obviously getting involved with Unit in the Community. Then I ended up being a charity shop leader for Unit in the Community.
And Unit in the Community is another asylum support.
Another asylum support. It was run at the time by a guy called Phil Jones. And then from there, there was a guy in there who was running an ESOL class who had done a community...
ESOL?
ESOL is an acronym for that. So that was just basically ESOL classes where you go and you learn English. So the guy that was running that had just done a community development course at Glasgow Uni. So I quizzed him about, what was community development, what did it involve, So from that, basically, that gave me the incentive to go and pursue, university. And I got into the community development degree course at Glasgow Uni 2 years ago.
No, but what are you thinking about in the scheme of things? We have to start thinking about ways forward. And building models and getting people engaged and changing this whole thing. What are you thinking are the pluses, the minuses, or would be good ideas, or where you think there's a failing in something that needs to be done? Where's the weaknesses and where's the strengths, and how do we put them together to create a way forward, basically?
For me, the way forward is communities who are self-educating themselves, communities that are running their own organisations, communities that are leading and designing, the things that, that they need, the action that they, need to take. And with that is, communities and people that are living in communities are educating other people. It's like each one teach one. I think the weakness for me is a third sector, is organisations that don't have a clue. It's that old, they're not speaking on behalf of the community, they're speaking on behalf of their funders. So they have to sway with their funders. So the only reason they get funding is if it meets certain criteria. But that criteria and that box ticking is only serving that organisation. The funding polices the project, and it polices the project in terms of where it's where it should be it should be driven. It's like pointing the fingers. It's kind of like steering. If communities have come up with this this action plan and they need the funding to implement this into their communities, you might get funders who will not fund this unless they meet other criteria that don't meet their criteria. It's a bit like, well, we like your idea, but as long as you know, add this into it, you know. I think it's probably is just a sort of kind of utopian sort of kind of idea would be, you know, do we need funding?
It's actually financial censorship in a lot of ways.
Do we need funding? Do we need funding to mobilise people, you know? You know, because, you know, without funding, you know, people are mobilising. And I think you were talking about, you know, the thing with Gal Gale. I mean, that guy had a vision, but he came for the community. He knew, obviously, by, you know, being part of that community, what the community was lacking and what the community needed, you know. I think, suppose with community development there's a lot of things that you can use. There's a lot of things that can be tried and tested rather than you know, sticking to one thing. You know, you can have a bit of popular education.
What's your long-term plans then?